Hello and good morning. It's video 946 and might be a couple of odds and ends. Um, this period of time just seems to be so rocky, for lack of a better word. Um, I try to imagine what life was like um, during the civil rights movement of the 60s, you know, and what life was like maybe like 1966 or 1967 when you had a lot of the um, black movements, the laws had been passed and people had their say and kind of what maybe people who were always treating um, black people with respect and um, like to them the way forward would become moving forward. And I realize it's not a perfect situation, but treating people with respect, with dignity. How, like, the shift between what life was like, 6 years prior, 4 years prior, when you had a lot of you know, the marches, and you had people who were um, sort of fighting for an anti-black, pro-white position as it being acceptable, and a lot of things that might have been like up for debate, you know, human decency, um, and how that might parallel where we are now. Um, you know, I think that within the next maybe 4 to 6 years, um, a lot of the anti-gay, anti-trans emotion is going to seem like the the anti-segregation or pro-segregation white supremacy talk. You know what I mean? Like there's going to come a point where um, anti-trans stuff is going to be like flat earther stuff. You know, the common person is going to be like, yeah, can you believe there were people who, you know, once treated transgender people with disrespect? How backwards they are, and they're still there, obviously, but much like we look today at flat earthers, like, are you serious? You think the earth is flat? That consciousness, I think, is going to be in the next less than 10 years for America. It just takes enough people to say you're wrong to someone who's anti-trans or anti-gay. You know what I mean? It just takes enough, a critical mass. That Overton window has shifted to the point that um, being anti-trans, anti-gay is going to be put in the same box as a flat earther, someone who thinks we've never been to the moon, for example. Um, you know what I mean? And so I think it's kind of like, if I could, what keeps me going is the idea that there will come a time when, um, you know, all of the places right now that are passing, anti-transgender laws. Um, we have in the news right now, the Attorney General in the state of Texas is being impeached for a number of felonies, and inappropriate things he's done, um, and being held accountable by Republicans in Texas, okay, um, because of things that he's done, um, where like 2 years ago, the same people that are impeaching him were for him taking away transgender children from their parents who let the children see a counselor or gender affirming care. You know what I'm saying? Like that sort of shift. I don't necessarily think it's because they have accepted transgender people. I think it's that the other things that happened. It's like a priest or a person in the clergy who sexually abused children being held accountable for those transgressions. There comes a time when there's a shift, and it's like, you will be held accountable. You won't be given this clemency. You are a child molester. You know, you will be held accountable. And I think again, there's gonna come a time when this shift is gonna happen, and it just needs enough people. It needs enough Gen Z and the generation that comes after Gen Z, Gen A, to you know, to start to say no. I disagree with it's stupid. How can you know, there's only you know, there's only two genders. What planet are you from? You know what I mean? Like, and I saw a video the other day. I'll try and link it below because I thought it was really good, and it looked at Matt Smith's, what is a woman movie, and it explained a bit about, you know, how the filmmaking is done and edited to make the experts on gender and the scientists, the medical doctors, you know the professionals, make them kind of they're not stumped because they can't answer the question. They're stumped by the person asking, like, how is it possible for an adult to not understand the concept of nuance, you know, and that you can't simplify a woman to such a simple blah 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 test, and the same, like I said, it's kind of it was a good video. I'll put it down below. Plus, it's always fun to see someone um, show Matt Smith as the ignorant asshole that he is. But anyway, um, where was I going? So, like I said, I think that's kind of what's keeping me going, is the knowledge that it's just it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and we just have to wait. And like I said, back to kind of as it was in like 1968 versus 1962. You know, 6 years. You had white people holding Bible verses talking about how God didn't want white people and black people to be in the same room together, drinking from the same water fountain and being justified, being taken seriously, versus so many years later, um, people looking at that and saying, you're a racist, you're a white supremacist, and what you're saying is wrong and evil. You know what I mean? There was a shift in society, and I think we're just on the tip of that. I mean, we're in it. We're in the fight, and it is hard. It is hard when you have people, rational adult people, behaving completely irrational and idiotic, um, and flat out mean. What I call sadist. They're sadists. They enjoy the suffering of other people. They enjoy causing suffering on other people. They get off on it. I'm not necessarily sure if that's a sexual thing, but I mean, they have a smile on their face with the knowledge that transgender children are suffering. I mean, it's sick. It's abuse. It's I don't know. Definitely not very Christian of them. Um, so that's kind of I think the current state of affairs in America. In the last week, something came to light about the store Target. Um, which Target was the first um, place in the United States that I know of that had like a gender neutral bathroom. And Target's policy from the get go was that you could use the bathroom of your preferred gender, your self identified gender. If you identified as a man, you use the men's room. If you identified as a woman, you use the woman's room. You know, Target had a very right out of the box, you know, very open-minded and progressive thinking, and they had apparently had hired a British designer to kind of come up with some Pride merchandise, and apparently there are some people who don't like it, and they're destroying it. I mean, throwing it on the ground and causing a ruckus over, a trans lives matter shirt. And unfortunately, Target did not, immediately say, we're going to hold, if you destroy our stuff, we're going to hold you accountable. They're trying to mitigate, I guess, much like Bud Light did not that long ago. Trying not to be confrontational, but it's just kind of the world that we live in. You know, the idea that a T-shirt that might say "treat everyone with respect" is somehow offensive. Like I said, that's where we're kind of like in this kind of critical pressure cooker right now that I think in the next 6 or so years, definitely less than 10, it's going to become uh, like I said, the flat earthers, the moon landing deniers. People are going to be like, "What are you, crazy? Are you stupid? Why would you intentionally want to harm a transgender child or a transgender person or anybody? Why would you want to hurt someone?" You know, I think that's what's on that's the writing on the wall. We just have to get there and get there. Um, so that's that. I think on the side for me, um, something that I am definitely going through is uh, my daughter is in the tail end of childhood. She's 16, and she in less than 2 years she graduates high school, and I think I'm as she is going through certain milestones and gates of that process. A lot of the things that I may have repressed being transgender and some of the choices you have to make, as you become a young man and you know, you're not a young man, you're a transgender woman or a transgender man, and everyone's like, "Oh, so young lady," and you're like, "Well, those type of things. I think some of the things that I may have repressed is kind of bubbling up, so I'm dealing with my own old baggage, maybe that's, my baggage, and I'm trying to be as supportive as I can, so it's kind of been um, dealing with our past. It takes a toll on our psyche. You know what I mean? Um, and I've let other things definitely fall. Um, you know, my room is definitely a mess. which, you'd say, well, isn't everyone's? Well, yeah, but I'm tired of living in it. You know what I mean? I want to fix it. And that's kind of my next kind of project for me is I want everything in a tub. I want all my hobbies in a tub. And when it's time to do a hobby, I go to the thing and I take the tub and I put it on the table and I paint my minis or I build stuff or whatever it is I'm doing. And then when I'm done, everything goes back in the tub. And the tub goes back on a shelf on the tub station. And, that's kind of that's my hope. But at the moment, everything is all mixed up. Here's a pen thing on my desk for pens, right? Um, you know, well, I have here. Um, I have this is a Japanese screwdriver that's specially made for a certain size of screws. Uh, these are Thorpe drivers. This is a very, it's kind of hard to see, very teeny tiny hex driver for hex screws. Um, I have just, I have, this is this specifically looks to be like a rudder push rod for an airplane. I just have stuff, like random stuff everywhere. And I just want everything consolidated into whatever it is for ease of use, but also just for, um, you know, tidy, you know. So that's going to kind of be my next thing to do. But in any case, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up and get off my butt and do stuff. I've kind of procrastinated enough. Um, but it's always something to do. Always something. And that being said, we need to give ourselves time to relax. We need to give ourselves time to do fun stuff, stuff that we want to do, stuff that we can't do. It's the weekend, you do stuff you can do. Um, you know what I mean? We have to live and enjoy our life. We have to, there's just so many things I kind of have going on. Um, but it's easy. Something else that I've felt the last couple of days is I've felt a loss of passion, which is kind of related to those things that are bubbling up. I think the idea of maybe some things that I wanted to do when I was younger that I couldn't, um, some of the things I can't do, for example, be a brownie. I wanted to be a brownie so bad. My sister was a Girl Scout. I wanted to be a brownie too. Um, something like that. No, you can't do. Now, you might volunteer. Maybe you could find a Girl Scout. There are things you can do. Um, there are things you know, um, you know what I mean? Like, what can you do to fill some of that need? Um, you know, but we're definitely limited by our body size. I bought a really nice dress for me that was a kind of a medieval Celtic um, dress, like the Vikings, a Viking maiden might wear. Um, but it definitely requires a corset, and I can't find a corset in my size. Now, if I had probably for the, for uh, a princely or a princessly sum, I could probably pay someone to make one for me. Um, so that they're just sometimes we have to be creative and look for solutions. And something else that I've kind of learned is there are just some things I can't do right now. I need to wait, and it's hard sometimes. It's hard to wait. We want it now. Um, So anyway, I'm just kind of talking in circles now, so I'll shut up. But that's where I'm at. So I wish you the best of luck in all that you do. Hang in there. Um, I really do think if we can make it 6 years, if we can make it through, what is that, three more elections, um, 2024 is going to be more of the same hate. Um, you know, it's going to be people who they don't necessarily know why they hate transgender people, but they just do. You know, Republicans are going to continue to use transgender people as scapegoats, you know, as diversions, you know. Well, I'm not going to fix the potholes in the city, but thank goodness I took care of those transgender people, you know. Um, that's kind of going to be, I think, the thing for the next maybe one or two elections. And then there's going to be enough people who are like, well, um, Senator Scratch and Sniff, um, why are you attacking transgender people to begin with? But um, your job is to fix the potholes. Your job is to So I think that is on the horizon as well. We can hope. Anyway, till next time, hang in there.